Give me just a second. I've disconnected from my camera. Right as I got into StreamYard, in fact. Come on. That was really annoying. Like literally as soon as it connected to the studio, my camera disconnected. Like, that's annoying. Anyway, I'm back. Hello again. As promised on my TEMU Haul video, I said I was going to punch all of this stuff out and come back and show you guys what those look like. It's taken me a few days to get it done because what a pain in the butt. And again, some of those die sets also were multiple pieces that had to be glued together in order to make the bigger image. So that also took time. So I'm just kind of going to just going to go through these and at the end there will be a card that will take you back to the original video, since that does contain the link. So if you do see any of the samples of these dies and you would like to go order them, you'll know how to find them on TEMU. So this was the first one, and I'm actually going to zoom in here. Oop. Maybe I'm going to zoom in. If I hit the right button, it'll actually zoom in. So this is the one that was the 2-piece, and the other one had the Christmas trees and the decorations and stuff. That I said I was going to donate the Christmas tree part and keep this one for myself. So as you can see, it is shorter. So you can use it though on any side of the page, bottom, side. You can even go, at the top of a page. You just have to decide whether you're going to shorten your page or have space around it. Because this one is, oh no, I take that back. So this is 5.5 inches, just a smidge over 5.5. So on your standard 8.5 by 11, this will fit along the top or along the bottom. So there's that one. And I also did discover that some of these really, really did not like the paper. I needed a thicker paper. But again, I was doing samples, so I wasn't super worried if they got ruined. This one has where the wings will lift up. So it makes it a little more 3D, which should be fine on a cover, not so much, or on a card if you do cards, not so much for like the inside of a journal. But it's pretty, and it'll go very well with my butterflies and my fairy stamp sets that I have. There's this one. And as I was suspected, this is a bottle of champagne. And, he's drinking some bubbly. So it's more of a 4th of July, New Year's versus a Christmas celebration. You find the other mice ones in here. This one did punch out of the paper just fine. This one, not so well. There's spots where the paper tore. Well, I was trying to pull it out, like right here, it didn't punch correctly. But other than that, it's very cute. He's very springy, and because it's not like Christmas trees or whatever, it can be used in pretty much any journal as long as you like little miceys. And there was this one that was also this was from the older one that I decided to pull out and keep. This one really hated being cut with this thin paper. It needed a thicker paper or thicker cardstock. He's missing part of his tail and part of a flower. That tore, this part tore trying to get it out of the die. You can see his leg is tore right here. But you kind of get the idea of what he looks like. But again, you kind of have to like mice. And then there was one other one with a mouse. Oh, I thought there was, but I guess not. So the dolphins are really nice. I love the way it turned out. The fish cutouts down here. This one is also just a hair over 5.5. So it will fit perfectly in an 8.5 by 11 and folded in half signature. Might have to trim a little bit off of each side just so that you don't get caught up in the spine. But yeah, suddenly I can't stop yawning. That's a beautiful die. Okay. There's this one, which I'm not super sure about. I mean, it kind of seems Christmassy. Snowflakes, there's presents. But I'm not sure what this is. Maybe somebody in the comments can let me know. And again, this was done on paper. This die did not really like it. This envelope did not cut out completely. And there was a couple places where it tore trying to get it out as well. I like it, and I am going to keep it for myself, and I'll figure out how to make it look less Christmassy. I loved this bird. Did not like the paper at all. It like tore in several places trying to get it out of the die. The feathers did not punch crisply. But other than that, beautiful little die cut. Love the bird. Here's another bird. I love this one as well. Little hummingbird. Thought I had one more bird one. Oh, I did. And then another bird. This one's got some butterflies. Again, this one's got it so the wings can lift up. Practical for cards, not practical for junk journaling. Unless you're going to put it on the cover. But the roses are a gorge. Love this one. Did have some trouble with the paper. There's another piece here that should have come out, and a couple of pieces here that should have come out. Another one here, another one here. They didn't cut very well, so I couldn't get them out. And again, that is not the fault of the die. That is the fact that this is really, really, this is like notepad paper, like post-it note thickness. So not even like copy weight. So it's very thin paper. But it was what I had on my desk, so it's what I used. This one is quite pretty. It's interesting because it's got like details here, and of course, same problem. There's another 3-leaf flower that's right here that didn't punch out all the way, so I couldn't get it torn out. But it's got like stamped out images where it just separates, but it's like a swirly and a stamen. It's coming out of some of the flowers. Really, really hard to show on camera. You probably won't be able to tell. Oh, yeah, a little bit right here. Right here. Doesn't show very well. And then up here is a curly Q. Another set of stamen right here. So very pretty. Very pretty. Here's my 2 alcohol ones. It's wine o'clock. And you are the gin to my tonic. Very fun. I did tear this one trying to pull it out, but again, these are just samples. But yeah, it's wine o'clock. That one was a duplicate, so my daughter has the other one, which is great because her and her bestie are wine buddies. Now, this is the one that I was really confused about, because I'm like, if they're all cutting surfaces, you're going to end up with a bunch of squares with hearts cut out of the center. So when I ran it through, it's actually more of embossing, so it scores, but it is cut because of its thin paper, 1, and 2, I ran it through twice. So it got really impressed into the cutting plate and cut through in a lot of places. But you can see on the back that it's really not supposed to be like that. See, it's supposed to just be bent or, embossed as a backing page. So, I mean, I could, since this is still in one piece, when I glue it down, all these places that it is like, separating, as long as that one doesn't completely fall off. It's only holding on by that corner now, but I can glue this down and it'll secure those spots that got cut through when I die cut it. But it's kind of pretty. It's not background that I normally use, but it is what it is. And if you remember right on the video, I was saying this one doesn't cut out around the image itself. So if you want it to go like, see, was right here is where the hearts end, right here on the edge. There's only like a quarter of a heart. You'd have to cut, to make those even, because it doesn't cut itself out. Whereas the sprinkles does. So it has this plate, but then it's got the cutting plate that came with it. I realize that now how hard it is to see this one, being that it's on book page. But you can see that it's little sprinkles. And if you put it behind a light colored paper, let me grab some green here. You'll be able to see that green coming through, coming through the dye. Then you have green sprinkles. That'll be fun. That Holy moly, that made a mess because it cuts out all these little hash marks, which is great. If you're wanting to make sprinkles, you could do this out of colored paper. You're going to waste a lot of paper in theory. I mean, you'd still have the background to use, but then you'd also have all the colored little sprinkles. And if you want multiple colors of sprinkles, you have to cut this out of multiple colors of pages. It'd make for good shaker cards, but it's kind of scary to think about trying to glue all those on. This is that tree one. I love all the little cutouts. You can see where, it cuts into makes those lines that are pretty synonymous with this kind of tree. Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. Love it. Oh, that was another extra. This is one of the frames. I'll show you on this edge because it shows the detail a little better. You can see it does the impressions of the lines on the scallop as well as around the outer edge. And the really cool thing about this one is that you get this really cool thing that also you get to keep. It's got a nice little decorative edge. You can put another placard there, cover this up, however, whatever. So there's that. Why do I feel like I'm missing a bunch? Because I am. Here is this pocket. Now, if you did this one out of a sturdy paper, this little cover here, you could make this an additional pocket. So then you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets. Or you can just do it as a paper decoration like I did here, and then you have 5. This is a gusseted pocket. So when you go to put it on, you glue here, here, and here. And that gives you the whole width of the pocket to put your stuff in there. I've been busy doing a bazillion different projects. So I just have to find the rest of these that I cut out. I still haven't figured out what this pattern is. I don't know how to figure that out. I have little baby duckies. Here's a 4th one. Little rubber duckies. That's from this one. This is crazy that the rest of my stencils are disappeared, or my cutouts, I mean. So I have several samples of the nesting style frames. Not sure where they wandered off to on my desk, but nothing fancy. They're rectangles and they just have like a ridged, textured border. Not sure where they wandered off to though. That's kind of interesting. They should have been in the pile with those. This was my favorite edging one. I love this feather. So gorgeous. Very delicate when done out of the super thin paper, as you saw me just about rip it. But doing it on a heavier weight paper, it's going to go beautiful in a journal. Okay, now the ones that required some assembly. Oh, not quite. So I did do a bunch of these for my 60s altered book that I'll be doing. So these are all the little candy hearts. I just kind of did them in pastel colors, hot stuff, love you, true love, XOXO, love, be mine, you and me. So those will get glued in my 60s journal, you know, randomly throughout. These were fun to do. Kind of a pain because, you know, unless you want them all in one color, again, you've got to like change out your paper because you can only do one color at a time. Unless you're doing super thin paper. This is cardstock. So the dies are not, typically a die does not go through 2 layers of cardstock. It'll usually cut through the first one and then partially cut through the bottom layer. And then you have to run it again. And you usually end up ruining it because they don't like to line up once they've gone through once already. So it's going to save a lot of time and frustration if you don't try to be the cheater way and do 2 at a time. I have these little envelopes. I had the same problem as I had with that heart with this one. And that when I ran it through twice, it actually cut the paper rather than scoring the paper. So my envelopes, as you can see here, this one's got, you know, a hole in the side. They're cracked. This one's got a hole in the bottom. And that, again, is because of the pressure of the machine while I was doing these cards. No fault of the machine, no fault of the dies. It was total operator error. But again, it's got an envelope and each one's got its own little card. I love this one with the little heart. It's got its own little card to go in each little envelope. And this tiny little thing. Be perfect to do like a monogram for personalized journals. Do a little monogram on there. What else you'd use that tiny little thing for? A flower stamp, maybe? I don't know. I love little envelopes. They're not practical. I mean, let's get real. They're not. But they're cute. And they make cute little decorations, little additions to a journal. Oops. Just realized my phone charger was disconnected. Okay, so now the ones that required assembly. Some of these I had to really take creative liberty with because they don't all have instructions. Like I tried to reverse image search them. I tried to Google Lens them. I searched for them on YouTube. That's how I found my daughter. I should give her credit. My daughter was able to find instructions for another one of the randoms that I got through TEMU. She was able to find the instructions on YouTube by doing an image search. It was great. I still haven't put the thing together, but I have a video if I choose to. These, a lot of them I couldn't find. I couldn't even find the order on TEMU because they were part of the big 30 count random. So I was going through and I was just trying to find like the single, to order it individually. And I couldn't even find most of them. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm winging it. So this bottle is very, very fun. If you want it to be all one color, it's easy peasy. If not, if you want it to be different colors, it's going to take a little bit of work because this piece here is actually 3. The die is 1. So you have the nipple part, the ring part, and then the bottle itself is all one die, if you remember correctly. So if you want them to be different colors, you have to cut out this part, and cut out this part all separately. And you end up with a little bit of scrap mess, but Now what I did was I did the backing with a piece of pink paper that I dyed myself. And then I have, what they call it, construction vellum, drafter's vellum. It doesn't work on my die cut machine. I've tried it. The Sizzix can't handle it. Otherwise, I would have just done it that way. But instead, what I did was when I cut this bottom part of the bottle out, I did it out of a super heavy cardstock so that I could keep it as a template. And it's in the envelope with the dies in my box so that I can hand cut that out of that vellum to get that a clear baby bottle. And then white for the milk. And then I did a pink measuring to match the pink ring. But really cute. These are, it is 8 inches tall, so it will just barely fit in an 8.5 by 11 folded in half. But it will fit. But have fun. And with this set, it had little tiny bottles too. Those duckies came from this set. But I'm going to put the ducks in with the birds instead of with the bottle. But it had little bottles that print out. They're like an inch tall and like a half inch wide, little tiny ones. Cut out, not print. These are not printed. But I didn't do the bottle, the little ones. So for my 60s journal, and it could be done in the 70s journal, I bought these 2 kits. Because what doesn't scream 60s and 70s besides Volkswagen, right? Very interesting to put together because neither of them had directions. This one at least had a picture on TEMU of it put together. So I was able to kind of figure out, and looking at pictures on, on the internet of like with the colors, which is probably still is not accurate, but as far as like is the window panes, do those match the but whatever. So there's a little bit of artistic license. I also lost my other red headlight before I got them glued on, so just for the sake of show, I went ahead and put an orange one in there because it was already on the desk. I used my book page to do the bumpers, the mirrors, and the railing across the top, as well as the peace symbol in the middle and the license plate rings. Now, when you cut this whole thing out, it cuts out this ring or this center, this ring, these holes, this centerpiece, cuts a circle out, plus cuts out the peace symbol, and then this side as well. So you end up with all these little bits and pieces. So if you want to mix and match your colors, again, just like with the bottle, you've got to run this through multiple times, piecing together what colors. Okay, well, I want, like, if you wanted the license plate covers here to be silver and the mirrors to be silver, well, the mirrors are separate. I take that back. But if you wanted these to be silver, what I would do is just take a strip and run it across here on the die and run it again. So that way you're not wasting a whole lot of your silver paper. You'll get a little bit of this that'll punch through, but you can toss that out. But then you'll have the nice circles for your license plate, or not license plate, your headlight covers. Now, I also, rather than leaving the windows open, I used again that drafting vellum, and I glued it to the back so that the windows are glassy. I also made the peace symbol see-through. Now, it does help glue stuff together as well, because otherwise this triangle piece, so since it's not glued in, this little triangle piece right here could pop right out if you don't glue it in on the back. So I have this little piece of paper here just kind of securing it in there because I didn't think about that ahead of time. But this, again, will go into my sample book so that I know how to put it together next time. With the bug, again, I did that same vellum. There are 2 pieces that came with this that I could not figure out what they were for. It was like one was like a little triangle, which I almost thought it's almost the same shape as this window here. As the wing window, but not quite. And so I thought, well, maybe it was like a whoop, a decoration for right here. The other one was a long, tall, skinny thing. And my husband being the car geek, I'm like, what do you suppose these are? He couldn't figure it out. And again, I Google lensed, I reverse image searched, I looked all over Temu. I was able to find in multiple places on Google, on Pinterest, so many different websites that carry this die set, but none of them actually had the car completed. So I have no idea what those last 2 pieces were for, where they're supposed to go. Can't figure it out. So maybe I will in a future. I don't know. In addition to the 2 cars, I got this little set of a box TV set because hello, as children of the 70s and you children of the 60s, we know these TVs well, right? Complete with the little antenna, box viewing position. I lost a couple pieces by the time I got them cut out. I lost a couple pieces, and I also forgot that I was going to put an image here instead of having just the brown in the back. I was going to put an image there, and I forgot. I glued it down and went, oops. And then I had to wait until I had something else in white to cut out the little reflection thingy here, and so I went back and put it on. I would probably do the knobs in several different, like at least in 2 different colors, because it does really blend in, even though that's 3 separate pieces on those top knobs there. Can't really tell because they're all the same color, which is how it was in the instructions, but I would change that. Now this actually has 2 different ways. You could do it flat like this. There's also parts to make it 3D. So it makes it 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch wide. It's got 2 little side things that you put here and then another TV on the back, and it makes it like a little holder. So there's a little bottom down here, and then you can put light stuff in it. I didn't realize that when I bought it because I didn't look that closely at the pictures. I just liked the TV and thought it was really cute and how appropriate that would be in a 60s journal to have a cabinet television, I think is what they called them. But yeah, fun little thing. This one confused me. And again, it was just this great part here. I don't know. That's the only thing that made sense to me, is that it was supposed to be a set of blinds. Because if you put it this way, then your curtains are like way apart. It didn't make sense down here at the bottom, because then you have this big old gap at the back, gap at the top of your curtains. So I'm just going with it being a set of blinds. Don't really know for sure, but we're gonna say it's a set of blinds. But this set came with this, the 2 curtains, the flower, and pot, and the kitty. Now the flower is 1 stencil, so again, to get it 3 different colors, you've got to run it 3 different times. So keep that in mind. Just a fun little. And this one didn't dry straight. I was really struggling with it, but that's okay. A little ball girl. Again, I searched and searched and searched and searched. I could not find instructions for this. There are 2 pieces that I assume were sleeves, but I couldn't figure out how to make them look right, so I didn't put them on. It took me forever to figure out that this was supposed to be a fan, but it's like, okay, well, how do I make her hold it? The two arms are on one piece that can't be separated, which is weird because one hand prints and the other one prints upside down. So this hand is actually cut backwards. That was a bad die design, 100%. I made me make some alterations because I think her forehead is like really, really, really tall. I would like to like cut it, trim it down a little bit, and give her more like a a 4 head versus a 6 head. It had this little running man starfish looking thing, which I thought maybe was a bow, wasn't super positive. I'm just going to put it in her head and cover up some of her forehead a little bit. These little flowers were a pain in the butt to cut out. The little leaves were even worse. You can see how itty bitty tiny those are. They are little. And again, with no picture to go off of, where do you put the flowers? And there was way more flowers than there was leaves. So if I wanted to use the rest of the flowers, I'd have to go in and cut more leaves out. I chose not to. This piece, obviously, we know where her face goes. We know where the eyes and the lips go. We know where the arms are supposed to go. But other than her physical body, this part of the dress was easy to know where it goes because on the white, there is the image that follows this bottom ruffle line. So that was easy to figure out where that went. But does it go on the top of these little ruffles or does it go underneath? I don't know. I figured underneath because to me, it's like 1 layer of dress, 2 layer of dress, 3 layer of dress, 1st layer, 2nd layer, 3rd layer. These little side things here are actually 2 pieces on each side. So you can see there's a lip right here, and there's a lip right here, and then there's a lip right here. So this goes off into the yellow. There's a white that runs right here, and another one here, and then onto the main part of the dress. No directions. I don't know how that was supposed to go together. So I winged it. When I was cutting this out, I first thought it was a tiara. So I thought she was a princess. And then as I was putting it together, I'm like, oh, that's not a tiara. That's a necklace. But I bet it could be used as a tiara. But it's quite a mess on the back. Just trying to get those figured out. Okay, the last 2, I was able to find pictures of them on TEMU. And so I kind of had an idea what I was doing, at least. But then I kind of altered and took some liberties with it. So this first one is a little Halloween cauldron. I did some extra layers because I wanted to try to turn it into a shaker. So a shaker is when you put stuff between layers so that when you jiggle it, your stuff inside moves around. It's not quite tall enough, obviously, because stuff is not moving. If I'd have put a couple beads in there that would have held the paper separated, probably would have moved around a little better, but that's okay. For a first go round, I'm okay with that. The candy corn, you waste a lot of paper if you want them to be in the right order, because you have to cut the entire thing out of white, the entire thing out of orange, the entire thing out of yellow, and then mix and match the pieces. And it's a 2-piece set, and they're like this. So you can't even just go here, just do the bottoms, just do the middles, just do the tops, because they're actually inverted. My personal opinion, bad design, because you end up wasting a lot. I love the little eyeballs. They do the impressions, the vein impressions come out with the die. And I just took my red pencil and colored in the veins to give it, some bloodshot. It's got some candy, little pumpkin. Again, you can see that tiny little tip to the pumpkin there. That is cut out separately. And you got to try to glue that baby on there without losing it. I lost a few of them on my floor. There's a little cauldron, and it's got a little bat up here at the top, which I glued on. Totally, it slid. Whoop! So it's not quite centered. But it is what it is. And then last but not least is one that I know my granddaughter is going to love. And I kind of made it with her in mind because her favorite colors are yellow and blue. So it's a little cup of cocoa. So she's got her yellow and blue cream at the top. There's a pink and white candy cane. And then she's got pink and white marshmallows down here on the bottom. And pink and white marshmallows up here. And then this cute little gingerbread cookie. And this is multiple layers because I was thinking I was going to do it as a shaker. But then I decided not to. So I didn't need to do quite this many layers. So it is rather stiff, but I love the little dribbles. But again, I used that that vellum to make it like a little see-through, yeah, the little marshmallows. This one was fun. That one was fun. Cutting these out, not losing them, and then getting them glued onto a gingerbread man. Pain in the booty, but worth it because he is adorable. I'll probably use a black permanent marker to draw in his eyes and his mouth rather than the pencil that was on my desk. But anyway, so here is, let me zoom out. I'll just kind of put them all out that I can find anyway. TV, a bug, a bus, a baby bottle, envelopes, little hearts, come here, little duckies. The little duckies. The pocket. A frame. Trees. Sprinkles. Ooh, the hearts. And then all the paper edging. So there you have it. Again, I will be linking, I'll put a little end card on this video, linking back to the original video where I showed these dies. And again, if you watch the video, it'll tell you which number the link is in the description, or you can just go into the description and click on each individual link. Totally up to you and how much time you want to spend looking for stuff. But yeah, so there is that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.